Passes. File item 186 is passed and retained. Moving to file item 187, that's AB 931. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 931 by Assemblymember Irwin and others, enacting related taxation to take effect immediately. Tax levy.
Ms. Irwin, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The unemployment rate for Californians veterans is substantially higher than the national average, and it is expected to continue rising as new post-9/11 veterans return home. AB 931 will address this disparity by allowing more veterans to be hired under the new employment credit. It increases incentives for employers to connect veterans with quality, high-paying jobs by lengthening the eligibility time frame for veterans separated from active duty. There is no opposition to this bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Irwin. Mr. Breaux, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise as a principal co-author to AB 31. This is a small but significant step to help California's military heroes. It was also a pleasure working with the chair of the Veterans Committee on this, and I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Breaux. Ms. Irwin, your option to close.
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 188. That's AB 949. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 949 by Assemblymember Gonzalez and others, enacting into physical education.
Ms. Gonzalez, you may open.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members. This is a simple bill. Cheerleaders are athletes, and it's time that CIF recognizes competition cheer as an official sport in high schools. Since competition cheer is considered an activity in school, it doesn't fall under any of our state agencies' jurisdictions. The lack of formal governance, standards, and regulations has resulted in inconsistent safety and training for coaches. Moving competition cheerleading to a sport would require a standard set of rules and regulations like any other sport. The current lack of appropriate safeguards results in too many injuries. Cheerleading accounts for approximately 60% of all catastrophic injuries in girls' high school athletics, making it the most dangerous sport for high school athletes. Nothing in this bill will alter the existence of sideline cheerleading or prevent students from participating in both sideline cheerleading as an activity and competition cheerleading as a sport. Members, I ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Harper, you are recognized.
Thank you very much. Of course, in regards to the comments from the gentleman from Salinas, of course, I don't remember the last time us deciding at the level of state legislature whether something was a sport or not. In such spirit, I'll be voting against this bill.
All debate having ceased, Ms. Gonzalez, you may close.
I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 71, noes 3. Measure passes. File item 189, that's AB 959. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 959 by Assemblymember David Chu, enacting related data collection.
Mr. David Chu, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. AB 959 addresses health and social service disparities through the collection of data. Because of data collected by government, we know that if you are African American, you have 10 times greater chance of having sickle cell anemia. Asian Americans are 10 times more likely to have hepatitis B. Latino children have a 1 in 2 chance of developing diabetes. And if you have skin cancer, there's a 95% chance that you're white. But we don't have similar data if you're LGBT. This data matters. From what little data we know that 40% of homeless youth are LGBT. 20% of transgender individuals lack health insurance. LGBT individuals experience higher rates of cancer and substance abuse. But we don't collect this data for LGBT Californians. This bill would require 4 health and human service agencies to collect sexual orientation and gender identity data on a voluntary basis, just as those agencies collect demographic information on race, ethnicity, gender, and disability. This is data that can save lives, allow us to invest scarce budgetary resources smartly, and help us end critical disparities. AB 959 has received no votes in opposition and has bipartisan support, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Lowe, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise in support of Assembly Bill 959. Our current law is silent on collections of demographic data related to sexual orientation, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Chu, you may close. With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 63, no 0. Measure passes. File item 190, pass and retain. File item 191, that's AB 1182. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1182 by Assemblymember Santiago and others, an act relating to secondhand goods.
Mr. Santiago, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, AB 1182 clarifies existing law that secondhand dealers' goods law in regards to tangible personal property, and it is applied to resellers and antique dealers in California. Per a commitment that I made in the Appropriations Committee, we will be making amendments in Senate BMP that will put the opposition at ease. So currently there is no opposition. This bill has received bipartisan support, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Santiago. Mr. Jones, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I also rise in support of AB 1182. I've spoken with the stakeholders, and the opposition that was previously stated has been committed to be removed, and once it moves to the Senate, and look forward to it coming back on concurrence. Please vote aye.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. With that, Mr. Santiago, you may close.
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
The clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Measure passes. Members, I am prepared to lift the call on AB 1328. Clerk will post. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Dr. Weber. Dr. Weber moves a call. Dr. Weber moves a call. Members, back on the file. File item 192. That's AB 1260. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1260 by Assemblymember Thurmond, an act relating to local government.
Mr. Thurmond, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present AB 1260. It's a simple bill that will have major impact for the residents of Richmond, one of the cities in my district. Essentially, this bill sets up financing to create a reconversion of what was once a blighted area in the city of Richmond into an area that will have retail, small businesses, affordable housing, and a research institution, the creation of a new research institution for UC Berkeley that will be one of the anchors of this community. The language of this bill spells out that there's a strong partnership and interest from many sectors, including the city of Richmond, the UC system, businesses, labor, that will have extreme great benefits for the people of Richmond. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Thurmond. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 43, noes 26. Measure passes. File item 193, pass and retain. Moving to file item 194. That's AB 1361. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1361 by Assemblymember Burke, an act relating to student financial aid.
Ms. Burke, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, Assembly Bill 1361 provides current and former members of the armed forces greater access to higher education by removing the age eligibility requirement in order to qualify for Cal Grant Transfer Entitlement Program. Current law requires a student to be 27 years or older in order to be eligible for the Cal Grant Transfer Entitlement Program. Unfortunately, the age eligibility requirement presents a barrier for veterans who attend college later in life due to their prior service in the military. AB 1361 will remove this barrier and ensure that veterans have access to financial aid and are able to pursue their education goals. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0. Measure passes. File item 195. That's AB 1533. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1533 by the Committee on Jobs, Economic Development, and the Economy, and actually in state government.
Mr. Garcia, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 1533 is the committee's omnibus bill on the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank. The bill contains technical and conforming changes to prior legislative actions. There is no known opposition to this bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Measure passes. We've already dispensed with items 196 and 197. File items 198 and 199. Pass and retain. File item 200, AB 12. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 12 by Assemblymember Cooley and others, enacting the state agency regulations.
Mr. Cooley.
Colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to present AB 12 today. A persistent concern in the state of California is job opportunities for our youth, job opportunities for the 7 cohorts of college graduates who've graduated during this recession, the issue of poverty in our households, single-parent households trying to support their kids, dual income households where people don't have the sort of jobs that really sustain them. This bill is an economic development bill. This bill, AB 12, would ask Governor Brown, who in the 1970s, when we saw too many regulations, and there was a great complaint in the 1970s about proliferating regulations under the headline of thicket government, Jerry Brown, who signed into law the OAL, the Office of Administrative Law, to address thicket government during his administration 1.0, this bill would commission a top-to-bottom review of all regulations in California, looking for those which are duplicative, inconsistent, overlapping, a process not to be done in a hurry-up manner and a fire drill, but over the course of calendar years 2016, 2017, a deliberate top-to-bottom review looking for duplicative regulations. I know that this type of measure, if passed by us, if signed into law by Governor Brown, will be a topic of conversation with every general counsel of every Fortune 500 company in America. It's the sort of thing that will create executive suite interest in what the state of California is doing, and it's just the sort of thing to bring the private sector here to grow the sorts of jobs that we will need to produce tax revenues to offset those taxes that were approved by voters but will be passing away. It's a good bill, no opposition. I request your support.
Members, I'd like to remind you this measure is support, and we have a very heavy file in front of us today. Mr. Mays, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to rise to say that I'm also this is support, but I'm very, very supportive of this bill, and I want to thank the author for bringing it to our attention. I respectfully request an aye vote.
Mr. Patterson.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, thank you very, very quickly. To the author, thank you for presenting this. Members, I hope this is the beginning of what we can do together to see to it that the regulations and the burdens that people have to get over for employment are lowered rather than higher. I commend the author and ask for an aye vote.
Ms. Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too rise in support of this bill, and I just want to thank the author because, you know, when you are filling out applications for state agencies or filling out applications for a woman-owned business or anything like that, there are duplicative forms that are drastically time-consuming that have to be produced over and over and over again, and I just applaud the author for addressing this issue.
Ms. Chu. My apologies. Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, you are recognized.
Well, we do look alike, don't we? Sorry. But I do also rise in support of AB 12, and I would like to thank the author. And I think it really shows the bipartisan support. And I do agree that we need to hold government more accountable. The taxpayers want to see a government running more efficiently. And I think this is what we are sent to do. And one of the ways that we can do that is by identifying overreaching burdensome regulations for duplicity, inconsistency, therefore helping us to identify those bills and, you know, reform them if necessary, also to repeal those burdensome regulations. So I would like to thank the author for bringing the bill, and I ask for your aye vote on AB 12.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. All debate having ceased, Mr. Cooley, you may close.
Request your aye vote.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 201, that's AB 18. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 18 by Assemblymember Dodd and others enacting related to disaster relief, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Dodd, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, AB 18 would add the South Napa earthquake to the list of disasters that are eligible for a full state reimbursement under the California Disaster Assistance Act. Given the severity of the earthquake, it's expected that the unreimbursed relief costs could total over $5 million. This bill will continue a well-established practice of the state that has been in place after previous major disasters such as the Loma Prieta earthquake, the Northridge earthquake, as well as the 1991 East Bay fire. This bill has no opposition, is a bipartisan bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. With that, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 75, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 75, no 0 on the bill. Measure passes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Gallagher, for what purpose do you rise?
I move to lift the call on item number 155.
That requires a second. Mr. Gallagher? Is there a second on the floor?
Mr. Allen.
Mr. Allen, seconds. There's a motion and a second to lift the call on Assembly Bill 1328. This is not debatable. The clerk will open the roll. Mr. Mr. Holden is asking for a no vote. Ms. Olson is asking for an aye vote. Mr. Holden is asking for a no vote. Ms. Olson is asking for an aye vote. Members, this is procedural. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 24, noes 47. This requires a majority of those present and voting. Motion fails.
Bill remains on call.
The bill remains on call. Members move to file item 202. That's AB 22. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 22 by Assemblymember Rodriguez enacting relating to oil by rail spills.
Mr. Rodriguez, you may open.
Thank you, Speaker and members. A hearing on the Assembly Select Committee on Local Emergency Preparedness found that volunteer fire departments and many small and medium-sized fire departments do not have budget funds available to send firefighters for emergency response training, even if the cost of that training is subsidized or paid for with grants or other assistance. AB 22 will require the Office of Emergency Services to establish a method to reimburse fire departments for costs incurred by those departments in sending firefighters to training programs identified by the Curriculum Development Advisory Committee and the OES. AB 22 has received bipartisan support and has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Measure passes. File items 203 through 206 pass and retain. Moving to file item 207, that's AB 71. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 71 by Assemblymember Rodriguez, an act relating to criminal justice.
Mr. Rodriguez, you may again open. Speaker and members, recent incidents of police involvement in the deaths of individuals has resulted in national protests, civil unrest, and even the targeting and death of peace officers. There is unfortunately no statewide database in California that contains reliable statistics on officers involved in shootings or officers who have been wounded or killed. Without this information, we are left with anecdotal reports or information that is often taken out of context. AB 71 will require each sheriff and police chief to annually furnish to the Department of Justice a standardized report of all instances when a peace officer is involved in shootings where an individual or peace officer is killed or injured. AB 71 has bipartisan support and has received no votes. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. File item 208, that's AB 74. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 74 by Assemblymember Calderon, an act relating to care facilities.
Mr. Calderon, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 74 will require annual unannounced visits in RCFEs, assisted living facilities, family daycare homes, and child daycare centers by July 1st, 2018. There has been a growing number of incidents across California which have led to dangerous situations for the elderly and children that are cared for in these facilities. AB 74 ensures adequate oversight of these facilities while protecting the state's most vulnerable populations. This bill has received bipartisan support and it has not received any no votes. Members, you voted on this for the last 2 years, and we've moved it out of this House. This has been a priority for this body to get annual unannounced visits in all of our community care facilities, which the state licenses. I appreciate the governor's attempt to address this in the budget. However, I do not believe that it goes far enough. We're California, and we can do better. This bill represents that opportunity to do better. I respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Calderon. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0. Measure passes. File item 209, that's AB 85. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 85 by Assemblymember Wilk, an act relating to state government declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Wilk, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 85 closes a loophole in the Bagley-Keene Act that will ensure public access to state meetings. This loophole has caused many state boards and agencies to establish two-member committees specifically in order not to hold public meetings. This bill is passed with unanimous support, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Wilk. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 72, no 0 on the bill. Measure passes. We've dispensed with file item 210. Moving to file item 211. Pardon me. We will not. Members, we dispense with.
213 is next.
Members, file item 211 is going to be a pass and retain. We've dispensed with file item 212. We're moving to file item 213. That's AB 99. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 99 by Assemblymember Perea and others, enacting related taxation, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. Perea, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, AB 99 is a federal conformity measure that will provide continued state income tax relief to borrowers who have had mortgage debt forgiven by their lender. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Perea. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 74, no 0 on the bill. Measure passes. File item 214, that's AB 142. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 142 by Assemblymember Bigelow and others, enact relating to wild and scenic rivers.
Mr. Bigelow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for AB 142. It's a district bill, and I encourage an aye vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bigelow. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 67, noes 2. Measure passes. File item 215, that's AB 177. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 177 by Assemblymember Bonilla and others, enact relating to professions and vocations, making appropriation therefore.
Ms. Bonilla, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I respectfully present to you AB 177, which extends the sunset dates until January 1, 2020 for the Board of Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists, the California Architects Board, and the Landscape Architects Technical Committee. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. File item 216. That's AB 178. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 178 by Assemblymember Bonilla and others, enact relating to healing arts, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Ms. Bonilla, you may again open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I present to you AB 178, which implements some of the recommendations from the March Sunset Review hearings held by the Assembly and Senate Business and Professions Committee. This addresses issues identified for the Dental Board and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians. I ask for your aye vote.
Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 72, no 0 on the bill. Measure passes. File item 217. That's AB 179. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 179 by Assemblymember Bonilla and others, enact relating to healing arts.
Ms. Bonilla.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is AB 179. It extends the sunset date for the Dental Board of California to January 2020 and extends the sunset date for the Board of Vocational Nursing till 2016 and to January 2018 and addresses additional issues raised during sunset review. The Dental Board has been operating with a structural deficit. Prior to recent dental fee increases, the board had not raised fees for nearly 2 decades. Also, a fee audit shows that the cost for licensure and permitting categories does not cover the cost for the license or the permit. The bill also proposes to increase statutory fee caps across most licensure categories to let the board to begin to recover its costs and to help solve the structural imbalance and to also build a healthy reserve. These fee caps are intended to last the board multiple years, and any actual increases would need to go through the regulatory process, ensuring additional oversight and public participation. I do ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. Ms. Olson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question of the author.
Without objection.
I noticed that the bill seeks to allow a process for increasing the fees for the dental board. And the question is, would those fees or would the increase in fees be used to cover the problems that we've had with the implementation of the BREEZE system?
I'm not exactly sure where their structural deficit is. It could well be that that would be part of the increased cost. What this sunset bill does do is increase the cap. It doesn't actually take action to increase the fee itself, but certainly Breeze has been very expensive.
Okay. Appreciate some elements of the bill. I think it makes sense. There are parts of it that are very important, but I'm very, very concerned that we're going to be passing fee increases on to licensees in order to cover the cost of the Breeze system failures. And so for that reason, I'll respectfully ask for a no vote.
All debate having ceased, Ms. Bonilla, you may close.
I would just like to state that the cost passed on is not for the Breeze failure. The failure is really going to be applying to those boards that aren't going to receive the Breeze services. But there is a cost, certainly, for having this updated computer system, and that could potentially be part of this cap increase. But I do ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bonilla. With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 51, no 16. Measure passes. File item 218. That's AB 180. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 180 by Assembly Member Bonilla and others, enact relating to cemeteries.